Over the 15 years from 1997 to 2012, 130 divers lost their lives. The actual number may even exceed 200 complete records. On average, each year, 8 to 13 people permanently remain underground here due to their passion for adventure. Can you guess which location Khan Hall is talking about? It is the Blue Hole of Dahab, located in the Red Sea on Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. It's terrifying that such a dangerous place attracts even more people to explore, especially divers from all over the world. They accept betting with death just to satisfy personal passion. And among those who participated in that life and death game, many were unable to win. Welcome to the mystery of the Dahab Divers Cemetery and the haunting, horrifying incidents on Kanha TV channel. As usual, before getting into the main content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support our team. Thank you very much. First, let's explore with Kanha 3 iconic stories of this place, to see how terrifying this location is. This is Tariq Omar, a technical diver often known by two chilling nicknames: the Bone Collector. The cemetery he guards is the Blue Hole on Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. Since the late 1990s, most bodies found in the Blue Hole have been recovered by Tariq. S still large enough that he can. Over 20 years doing this job, there are only two names Tariq still remembers: Martin Guerra and Koino O'Regan. Do you wonder why he remembers their names? The reason is very simple: they were the first two bodies he recovered. In 1997, Martin Guerra, an experienced diving instructor from Ireland, came to Egypt to experience all the great dive sites in the area. Regan, Martin, both were highly experienced, passionate about the sport. They planned to return to Ireland together at Christmas to establish a travel company specializing in organizing overseas diving tours. About a month before returning home, both visited the famous dive site, the Blue Hole. This trip was part of a larger journey organized by PATI, a global diving organization, with the participation of many professional divers. While diving, Martin and Koino got separated from the group and lost each other. Unfortunately, when separated, both accidentally dived too deep for the limits of the gas mixture they were using. They lost consciousness, their regulators fell from their mouths, and their bodies sank to a depth of 65 meters. Other divers only realized the incident when everyone had surfaced, but Martin and Koino were missing. Immediately, all divers conducted a search, but when discovered, it was too late. Not only those using scuba tanks have died here. In 2011, an experienced diver named Ekor planned to dive to a depth of 150 meters using professional techniques. This 150 meters figure is only about 1/3 of the actual depth of the Blue Hole. First, he entered the arch at a depth of 50 meters. Then, at 90 meters, he encountered another man. This person recalled that Ekor seemed to be trembling at the time, but still signaled okay. Ekor continued diving to 120 meters, then 150 meters. That was a record he had achieved. After touching the rock ledge at 150 meters depth, he began to ascend. But at this point, everything started to go wrong. At a depth of 130 meters, Ekor began breathing rapidly. He was completely panicked. Immediately, Ekor shot straight up to the surface without stopping at any point. It is extremely dangerous to dive at deep without stopping to decompress. All the gases dissolved in his blood, compressed by the depth pressure, were expanding rapidly as he ascended. When Ekor reached the surface, these gases caused excruciating pain and blocked blood vessels throughout his body. When his head emerged from the water, he cried out in pain. Just minutes later, he passed away. Ekor was also one of the few people Tariq did not have to recover. Besides the duo Martin Guerra, Koino O'Regan, and Ekor, there is another incident even more famous. In April 2000, a man named Yuri came to Dahab with the intention of exploring all the diving spots in the area. Yuri was a diving instructor. He brought all his diving equipment to Dahab after visiting a friend in the nearby city of Teo Avis. Like many other divers, Yuri had dreamed of diving in the blue hole for many years. Yuri's father always warned him not to do dangerous or reckless things. So even though he was alone, he tried to find a companion. Just a few hours after arriving in the city, he walked along the street with many dive shops, looking for someone to go with or guide him. Yuri went back and forth, inquiring about various services. Finally, he found a local man who agreed to accompany him. Shortly after, the two went to the dive site and entered the water. During the dive, Yuri recorded this video. The video begins with Yuri near the water's surface. Around him are other divers, coral reefs, schools of fish, and clear blue seawater. He looks down at the camera to adjust something, seemingly attaching a protective lens cap against water pressure. Yuri fumbles with it for a while, and when satisfied, he shifts his attention to two other divers ahead. Long streams of bubbles can be seen rising from their regulators. They appear to be gently kicking to maintain a suspended position side by side, as if conversing. He approaches these two divers, getting so close he almost touches them. Then he swims past, looking into the distance, and all that is visible is the dark, deep water below. From somewhere deeper, bubbles rise, signaling that other divers are below and out of sight. A moment later, we see Yuri focusing on another diver below. This is likely the local man he hired to accompany him. The person ahead of him also has a long stream of bubbles rising. Soon, Yuri swims past. Then he looks up at the water's surface, where sunlight can be seen shining down. After that, Yuri looks down at what appears to be the seafloor. Actually, it more resembles the inner wall of the blue hole, and he is swimming along its edge. The water here is much darker than the surface water above. Khan Na will now be silent so you can hear Yuri's breathing as he descends. Notice how the seawater becomes pitch black in an instant. Yuri is using regular scuba gear, so as he descends, he becomes increasingly affected by nitrogen narcosis. Additionally, his buoyancy control becomes less effective as pressure increases. The seawater is unbelievably dark. You won't be able to believe it. He won't be able to believe it. He won't be able to believe it. He won't be able to believe it. The seawater is unbelievably dark. At this moment, he checks his dive computer for depth. It shows 81 meters. You know, regular scuba gear is not recommended for depths below 40 meters. But Yuri is at twice that depth. In the next few moments, you will see him struggling at the bottom of a rock formation he landed on. Shortly after, you will hear the hissing sound as he tries to inflate his buoyancy compensator. But unfortunately, Yuri had dived too deep and his equipment was too heavy. He desperately tries to swim up, but it was too late. The camera cuts off as he struggles in this terrifying situation. About 40 minutes later, with no sign of Yuri returning, everyone understood what had happened. His family was contacted immediately afterward. His father came to Dahab the next day, pleading with locals to recover his son. And finally, Tarek volunteered for this mission, despite it being an unprecedented deep-sea recovery at record depth. After all, Tarek found Yuri lying face down at a depth of 91 meters with too much gear on him. He discovered that in an effort to increase buoyancy, Yuri had overinflated his buoyancy compensator, causing it to burst. When Yuri's body was brought up, all personal belongings were returned to the family. Among them was the camera, which Tarek did not know was still functioning. This camera was only designed to operate at an depth of 75 meters, so Tarek thought it was broken and couldn't record anything. And then unfortunately, as you've seen, it captured everything. And this video was shown to Yuri's parents. Tarek said that if he had known the camera was still working, he would have personally destroyed it. Because watching footage of a death leaves anyone heartbroken. Yuri's video is now used as a warning to divers about the dangers of diving. What's notable in this video is that everything seems to happen too quickly. From when the seawater was still clear blue and calm to the moment the pitch black water becomes terrifying. So what makes the blue hole so dangerous? First, we need to understand what a blue hole actually is. In previous ice ages, sea levels were about 100 meters lower than they are now. At that time, more land emerged, exposing many caves and sinkholes on the surface. Over time, rain eroded these caves, similar to how it typically affects limestone. Then, as sea levels rose, salty seawater flowed through the rocks, further accelerating the erosion process. Many surface caves collapsed, forming the large circular holes we can now see underwater. Essentially, they are vertical caves. What's interesting but also frightening about blue holes is that their rims are composed of different types of rock, which itself is all like the interior. Inside this stable rim, the holes can collapse very deep, much deeper than the surrounding seabed. The Great Blue Hole off Belize is a typical example of this. The rim of the hole is only about 10 meters deep, but if you cross this rim, you'll fall straight to a depth of 124 meters, which is almost a free fall. And because the depth at the rim and the bottom differ so much, it creates the strange color contrast we can see from the water's surface. You'll see the shallow water at the rim has a characteristic tropical blue color, while the middle has a deep blue almost like the ocean. Another consequence of this depth disparity is that water in blue holes often circulates very poorly, especially at greater depths. In fact, many blue holes at the bottom have no oxygen at all, so besides being deep and dark, they are lifeless, creating a barren, desolate world, completely different from the surrounding waters. These blue holes exist all over the world and are unique diving sites because they have no currents, being isolated from the rest of the water. Some blue holes are located very close to the coast, so you can walk out a bit and dive to depths of hundreds of meters. Therefore, besides many other favorable conditions, these blue holes are also very accessible, which is why they are very popular with scuba divers as well as free divers. That's the common feature of blue holes worldwide. But what about Dahab? Why is it so deadly that it? In fact, we don't even know if this dive site is actually more dangerous than others. Because there are no official records of the number of dives or the number of divers who have died, we cannot compare the mortality rate here with the average rate of diving accidents. It might indeed be more dangerous, or it could be that the number of divers here is so large that the number of fatalities becomes unusually high. Strangely, this notoriety doesn't deter people. It seems to have the opposite effect. Or it could be said that the allure of this place hides a deadly, dangerous duty. On the coast near the Dahab Blue Hole, there is a memorial for the divers who have lost their lives here. Before entering the water, divers often perform some spiritual rituals in front of these plaques, hoping they won't be the next to go. But the truth is that those found represent only a very small fraction compared to those who actually remain at the bottom of the sea. Due to the size and depth of the hole, sometimes it takes a very long time before bodies are found. But by then, experts advise against recovery because the bodies have decomposed. Another frightening thing is that divers often record videos when diving in a blue hole. And indeed, when reviewing these videos, they occasionally see some equipment of the missing lying in the sand or stuck among rocks at the seabed. There is a hypothesis explaining the danger of the Dahab Blue Hole, which is its unique shape. From the water's surface, as you dive deeper, the rock walls narrow like a funnel. Then, at a depth of 52 meters, there is a large arch at the far end of the hole. This arch opens into a 26 meters long tunnel that continues sloping down until it penetrates the wall of the blue hole and opens out to the sea. At the exit of the tunnel, the depth increases gradually, from 120 meters to as deep as 800 meters. In between, there are some steps, but that is the last point before falling to the ocean floor. It's very likely that because the depth increases rapidly from the surface, divers using regular scuba can easily dive down quickly without realizing they've gone too far. And before they could realize it, the nitrogen gas caused hallucinations that made people unconscious. Another reason this blue hole is dangerous is the issue related to money. Most diving facilities here are licensed, but there are still many cases operating outside the law. In addition, there is a lot of price competition for each dive. Therefore, many trainers and guides are willing to overlook some safety regulations in exchange for a bit of cash. This can inadvertently compromise the safety of inexperienced divers. In most cases, those who pay for the service still go with experienced and professionally trained individuals. But there are still some exceptions where customers had to dive alone. Overall, until now, no one can guarantee whether similar incidents will continue to occur in the future at Dahab. Because warnings or world-shocking incidents have long lost their effect on divers with adventurous blood. They are well aware that this place is known as a graveyard. Yet curiosity and the desire to conquer have turned fear into excitement, even pride if one can dive here. It is hoped that these tragic incidents will no longer appear and Dahab will one day become an ideal diving spot, carrying the blue of hope, just like the beauty it displays on the water's surface, instead of becoming a death trap that sends people to the other world. As for you, if you could witness the entire beauty of Dahab as well as know the deadly mysterious stories here, would you dare to adventure and conquer this place? Please leave your opinion in the comments section. And if you want Kanha to tell more fascinating stories, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the latest episodes. For now, thank you and see you in the next videos.
If the veil stirred, subscribe and meet the next encounter.